No wonder he left me, vanished from my life forever. I'm the oldest sister, 34 years old. I have a 4-year-old just learning to tie his shoes and a 6-month-old baby who often sleeps like an angel in my arms. People say I'm sharp-tongued, hot-tempered, controlling. They never ask why a woman becomes that way. No one asks what it feels like to be betrayed at 8 months pregnant, to watch your husband disappear with the wedding gold, the bracelet, the things my parents gave me to weather life's storms, leaving me with a child staring up and asking, "Where's Daddy?" If you've ever pushed a dead car up a hill in the rain at night, you'll get it. The whole slope echoing only with your own ragged breath. You plant your feet, hunch your shoulders, push inch by inch, head down. No one comes to rescue you. You do it yourself. You do it yourself so much that you forget you were ever helped before. My younger sister, the stable one, the happy one, the spoiled one, got married, moved in with her husband, and lived her new, perfect life, like the wedding. Photos framed on the wall. I was genuinely happy for her. But the truth is, a crack formed inside me. What I once had was reduced to ashes while she was just beginning to lay the foundation for her own home. Call it jealousy if you want. I call it something else. The fear of being left alone. She and I never got along. We fought as kids, fought through high school, fought as adults. Petty things that could explode like a pan of hot oil. I'd say she was weak. She'd say I was cruel. Maybe we were both right. My father lives nearby. He still helps watch my 4-year-old and rocks the baby so I can quickly shower. That week he went on vacation and decided my sister should come. Help me for a week. I thought, good, maybe this is her chance to truly see my world, not through a few minutes on the phone, but through the smell of diapers, the cries that shatter sleep, the cold meals interrupted by a child's vomiting. I wanted her to see, so she would understand. The first day, she and her husband arrived, early. He mowed the lawn. She sat on the sofa, holding the little bundle of fluff. "Thank you," I said, but what kind of thank you is enough for an endless week? By exactly 6 in the evening, they went back to my father's house. I cleared the dishes, counted bottles, looked at the laundry pile, smelled the freshly cut grass, and felt a stab in my chest, as if I had just paid for a service, not received kindness from family. On the third day, her husband picked up my son from school. I was grateful, but too much gratitude makes me scared. Unspoken gratitude turns into silent debt, and debts must be paid. I watched her sitting there. She didn't say much. Her eyes slid away when I brought up her weight. In her silence, I saw avoidance. I hate silence. Silence, to me, is the pit people throw themselves into to escape the hard questions. "What do you want from your life? Don't you want to lose weight?" I asked, my voice sharp, like a blade slicing paper. She pressed her lips together. "I'm trying." "Trying how?" I heard, my own harshness. "You're lazy. You just sit here." Maybe I was wrong in that moment, but my wrongness didn't come from malice. It came from the stubbornness of someone life had whipped raw. I had learned that no one pulls you out of the mud but yourself. I had learned that your body is your last fortress. If it falls, you have nothing left. I had learned that speaking bluntly, even if it hurts, is better than pretending to be kind while everyone drowns. On the 4th night, she whispered to me about children, tracking cycles, fatigue, nausea. She said she had lost one just 2 weeks ago. I froze. I didn't hug her. I didn't react like those perfect comfort videos people love to watch. I listened and felt a stone drop into my chest. Something inside me burst open. The bitter water rose to my throat, but I swallowed. I had no right to collapse. I still had bottles to wash, clothes to hang, alarms to set for 2 a.m. I looked at her, saw her swollen eyes in a caving sky, but my arms were holding the baby, and my life has no pause button. "Whatever you need, just tell me," she said. I heard, It like someone tossing me a thin rope. I wanted to say, "Don't just try, you must fight." But what came out was, "You have to change." And God, when I said change, I pronounced it like a command. On the 5th day, I watched her in the mirror. I heard her breath. I knew she hated her body. I knew because I once hated mine even more. After my first child, my face was round as the moon. Veins burst in my chest. Stretch marks, purple as lightning strikes. I never took pictures. I deleted every photo. I had lived it, the feeling of staring into a mirror and seeing yourself deformed. I understood. But understanding didn't soften me. Understanding made me angrier. Why know and not act? Why keep waiting? "You always talk," she murmured. "But do you ever listen?" I gave a cold laugh. "I've listened until I'm so tired, no sound gets through anymore." I wanted to say, "I listen all night." The baby's cries, my chest wheezing, the fear whispering, "If you faint right now, who will hold the baby?" But I didn't. I threw out another line. "Dad also told me to talk to you about your weight." "Yes," I lied. I dragged Dad in to give my words weight. I knew I was cornering her. I knew, and I still did it. That evening, while tidying toys, I saw her husband look at me. Polite, gentle eyes like all kind men have. I knew his type, soft-spoken, but if it comes to defending, his wife, he stands like a wall. I muttered a greeting, my bones heavy as lead. By 8:30, the baby was asleep. By 9, my boy was snoring. I collapsed into a chair, rubbing my temples. She sat across from me, hugging a pillow. The TV showed a weight loss program, a girl's before and after. The audience clapped wildly. She sighed. "She's really good." I switched off the TV. "She's good because she stood up," I said. "You just sit." Her breath hitched. "Stop it." "I'll stop when you get up." She looked at me like I was a beast. "What more do you want? I've been here all week." "Here," I scoffed. "Then at 6 you go home, like clocking in." I laughed. "Thanks. But that kind of thanks gets paid back with sulking." Maybe at that moment, anyone watching from the outside would hate me. I heard my own words and felt goosebumps rise all over my skin. But on the other hand, her silence made me want to smash the table. I knew she was scared. I knew she was in pain, but I carried a different kind of pain, the kind that makes you climb onto your own back to haul your life forward. "You're ugly," I blurted out. One word, ugly, shot from my teeth, like a stone. Her face turned pale. I could almost hear glass cracking. "You're lazy," I added. "You won't even pull yourself off that sofa." She choked. I saw her hands trembling. God, I knew that sign. That panic attack rising like a wave. But when you've lived long enough with storms, you start to despise the waves. "You're selfish with your future child," I said. "You think silence is gentleness. No, silence is cruelty to yourself." "Stop it," she whispered. "Don't say any more. I'm having an attack." "Have it," I muttered. At least that's a reaction. That line, when I remember it now, was the cruelest thing I ever said. Night fell. The fridge hummed softly. I carried the baby into the room, laid him down, came back out. She was still sitting there, her eyes wet. I stood in the middle of the living room, my hands empty, feeling my life split in two. One half, the mother dragging a car up a rainy hill. The other half, the sister throwing stones at her sibling to force her to run. I hated both. I needed both. "Tomorrow," I said. "You'll walk with me. Not much. 20 minutes. She shook her head. "I'm tired." "Tired is the biggest reason people need to get up," I panted. 7 a.m. I'll knock." She didn't answer. I turned off the light, went back to the room. In my head was the sound of footsteps. The footsteps of a woman who has to be mother, father, wall, lamp, everything. The next morning, 5 minutes to 7, I was already outside her door. I raised my hand to knock, then let it drop. Inside was a faint breath. Maybe she had just dozed off. I stood there, my hand trembling, and felt a dry well in my chest. No strength left to be kind. No strength left to be cruel. I turned away, went down to the kitchen, the kettle starting to whistle. I poured the water. My phone buzzed. A message from Dad. A photo of the sea. Harsh sunlight. The words, "Everything okay?" I typed, "Okay." I erased it. I typed again. "Okay." I erased it again. Finally, I sent a thumbs-up emoji, the language adults use when they don't have the courage to tell the truth. "Sis!" Her voice rasped behind me, thin and raw. I turned. She stood there, eyes red, hands cradling her stomach as if holding something invisible. I'm sorry about last night." I gripped the cup handle tight. "Yeah," I answered. "Today, let's just start over." I didn't hug her. I was afraid if I hugged, I would cry. That noon, when her husband came to pick up my boy from school, I glanced out the window. Sunlight poured over the gleaming roof of their new car. I heard myself, let out a breath, short and broken like a sob. That was it. Half a day of peace before the real storm rolled in. And I, the eldest sister, the woman cut by a knife in places no one could see, was ready to say the thing the whole family would hate me for. "You must change. Not tomorrow. Now." "Don't push me," she whispered. "No one is pushing you," I replied. And in that instant, I knew I was lying. I still remember that afternoon clearly. Late sunlight slanted through the curtains, gold spilling across the baby's face and my arms. He slept, breathing evenly, but in my chest was a thunderstorm. My sister sat across from me, fingers locked tight, eyes swollen red. I spoke. She fell silent. I asked. She avoided. That silence, to me, was not gentleness. It was defiance. "Do you plan to change at all?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay calm. I'm trying," she stammered. Trying how? Sitting on the sofa all week? Is that trying?" She swallowed, said nothing. I heard the hiss inside my own head. Silent again, always silent. I shot to my feet, marched up in front of the TV, and pointed straight at her. "You're lazy, you're ugly, you won't even bother to stand up. Have you thought about your child? In the future? What kind of mother will you be?" She trembled, fists clenching her shirt. I knew she was in the middle of an attack. I recognized it instantly, heart racing, breath broken. But instead of softening, I said the words that still echo like blades. "At least an attack proves you're alive. Sitting still like this, you're already dead." Her eyes went blank. She shot up, staggered outside. I heard the stairwell door, the heavy footsteps. I held my baby tighter, breathing in, and my father's old words echoed in my head. "She's fragile. Don't push too hard." But how could I not push? Life doesn't spare the weak. Before I could think further, the bedroom door swung open. My sister threw herself into her husband's arms. I followed, my voice rising. "I'm her sister. I have the right to speak. I have the right to remind her." He didn't shout, but his gentle eyes flared with resolve. He slammed the door right in my face. Bang! The wood shuddered through my chest like a slap. In my own house, I inhaled sharply, clutching the baby tighter, then shoved the door open again. "No one shuts a door on me in my own house. This is my house." "Please," he said softly, still calm. "She's having a panic attack. I'm trying to calm her down." I laughed bitterly, spitting out the words, "This is my house. I'll say whatever I want." In that moment, the argument was no longer between me and my sister. It became a standoff between me and my brother-in-law. He held her close, eyes fixed on me like I was the enemy. And I, with a sleeping baby in my arms, stood in my own living room and felt myself being shoved out. My sister sobbed. I can't take it. Then she bolted into the bathroom. The sound of retching tore through the air, wave after wave. He rushed after her, leaving me alone in a room full of shadows. I screamed after them. There, always the same, running, crying, making the whole world pity you. Who can live your life for you? They didn't answer. I heard the bathroom door slam shut. The retching went on. I stood frozen for a few seconds, my heart pounding, feeling like I was locked outside a play I never wanted to be cast as the villain in. He came back, eyes red, voice tight. Stop dragging this out. Don't make her suffer more. I gave a bitter laugh. Suffer? She doesn't know what suffering is. Suffering is when your husband steals all your gold and disappears. Suffering is sitting on the floor 8 months pregnant with no one coming. Suffering is a baby crying all night until your tears dry up into stone. That's suffering. His voice hardened. You're wrong. This isn't the way, I shouted, my voice shattering like glass. No, the only way is to tell her the truth. She needs to hear it, even if she hates me. Just then, my sister stumbled out, pale, trembling hands. She looked at me as if to pierce straight through. Then she hissed between her teeth, voice small, but ice cold. No wonder he left you. I froze. My whole body felt sliced in half. Those words felt heavier than any slap I'd ever taken. In my arms, the baby stirred, wailed. I heard nothing except that sentence. No wonder he left you. I wanted to scream, to smash everything, but my throat locked tight. Then I saw her tears. She turned, grabbed her husband, and together they dragged themselves out the door. I heard the shuffle of sandals, the twist of the doorknob. I screamed after them, Fine, go! I swear I'll never ask you for anything again! Never! The door slammed. I stood abandoned in the dark house, my baby crying in my arms, my chest ripped open. By one sentence, and I knew from that moment on, she and I had fallen onto opposite sides of the same abyss. Only when the house was empty did the explosion truly happen inside me. The baby's cries rang like a fire alarm, and I rocked him with trembling hands, haunted by her words. No wonder he left you. I collapsed into a chair. My knees shook. Breath ragged. Never. Not even when my husband dragged the last suitcase out the door had I felt this bare. Just one sentence. It cut deeper than a year of betrayal. I grabbed my phone. The screen lit up. A message from her. No, from her husband. Cold as a verdict. From now on, consider my wife and our children dead to you. If you need to calculate gas money or anything else from this week, let us know. We'll pay, but don't contact us again. I bit my lip. My fingers shook as I typed, How dare you? Then deleted it. Typed again. I only spoke the truth. Deleted. In the end, I sent nothing. I tossed the phone on the table. That night I didn't sleep. The baby cried 3 times. I rocked him, eyes dry, lips whispering like a curse. You say I deserve to be abandoned. I was abandoned already, and I'm still here. The next morning, my father texted from his trip. Everything okay? I stared at the words, choking. I almost typed, No. Your daughters just tore each other's hearts to pieces. But instead, I sent a smiley face. I knew well. When he returned, he would side with her. He always did. He'd say, She's weak. You must give way. For years, I'd heard that line. But what about me? Do I ever get to be given way? That afternoon, I sat with my 4-year-old. He asked, Mom, where's Auntie? I swallowed hard. She went home. Will Auntie come back? I froze. My son looked up, waiting. I gave a crooked smile. No, probably not. He lowered his head, whispered. But I like Auntie. I like Uncle too. Another crack split my heart. I hugged him, but inside me boiled a blind fury. You like her, and she treats your mother like trash. 3 days later, another message arrived, this time from her. Don't ever call me again. All you do is scream, curse, make me afraid. You're a terrible sister. You don't deserve me. I read it. Then I smirked. This time I replied without deleting. Yeah, I'm terrible. Terrible. But I survive. Terrible. But my kids still have a mother. You, without that gentle husband, would have fallen long ago. She didn't answer. That night, after putting the baby to sleep, I found myself sitting alone in the living room, yellow light falling across the tiled floor. I listened to the wind hissing through the door. I recalled every detail. Her on the sofa, red-eyed, holding her stomach. I called her ugly, lazy, selfish. She called me the woman left behind. Who was right? Who was wrong? Or maybe we were the same, both crushed by life in different ways. The phone lit up again. Another message, this time from my father. I've heard your sister's side. I'll call when I have time. I'm tired. Don't trouble me more. I gripped the phone, teeth clenched. There, as I said. He always believes her. I wanted to reply, Dad, she's not innocent. She threw the cruelest words at me. But like always, I stayed silent. I've learned this. The silent one never loses immediately. That night, I wrote in my journal. Typed, deleted, typed, deleted. Finally, only one line remained. If I'm the bad one, at least I dare to speak. You, all you do is cry. I shut the laptop. The next day, a neighbor stopped by, hinting. Last week the house was lively, now it's so quiet. I forced a smile. Yeah, families argue sometimes. But behind my back I heard them whisper, she's so harsh. Poor younger sister. I walked on, hollow inside. Poor her. Who pities me? That night, my boy asked again. Mom, doesn't Auntie love you? I bit my lip, forcing back tears. It's okay. I still have you. But when he slept, I whispered into the dark. It's not that I don't love her. I love her enough to tear her out of that soft shell. I love her enough to let the world hate me rather than watch her wither away. I sat like that until morning, watching the clock crawl. Another day passed, and the distance between my sister and me stretched another mile. 5 days later, my father came home from his trip. He brought a small gift bag, a bottle of imported liquor, printed seaside photos, still smelling of fresh paper. He sat on the couch, turned on the TV, sighed. Traveling is fun, but home is still better. I stood there holding my baby, heart tangled. I knew this conversation couldn't be avoided, and just as I expected, he called me over. About last week, I've heard bits. Tell me your side. I inhaled deeply. I told him half-truths. I said she argued. I said she stayed silent, until she burst into tears. I said her husband stepped in, shut the door, argued back. I said I only wanted her to change. I left out the words I hurled at her, ugly, lazy, selfish. I left out the sentence she carved into me. No wonder he left you. Father sat, face calm. Then he said she told it differently. She said you cursed her, pushed her, made her spiral. Did you? I bit my lip. Dad, I only wanted her to stand up. If she stays this weak, she'll end up killing herself. He looked straight at me, his old eyes heavy. Don't you see? You're becoming your mother. I froze, my heart clenched. Dad, why would you say that? He sighed slowly. Back then, your mother thought the same way, always forcing you all to toughen up, obey, live as she demanded until the family exploded. She lost everything, lost her husband, lost her children. Do you remember? I swallowed hard. My mother's image flashed. Her screaming, her scolding, then collapsing. My hands shook. You're saying I'm like her. Yes, you are. And you're walking her path. You think you're protecting the kids, but you're making them afraid. You think you love your sister, but you're crushing her under your heel. I screamed, voice breaking. No, I'm not like her. She abandoned me when my husband betrayed me. You stayed silent. I had no choice but to harden myself. Otherwise, who would raise the kids? Who would protect them? He said nothing, just looked at me, shook his head, then quietly. The price of what you call strength is what? You've already lost your sister. That sentence landed like a verdict. I sobbed, clutching the baby in my arms. She cried out, and I carried her into the room, my heart a tangled mess. 2 days later, I heard she had gone to see my father with her husband. They told everything without leaving out a word. They even told the line I'll never forget. No. Wonder he left you. Father told me afterward, his face heavy. After listening, I just sighed. You two are like knives against each other, but this time, more of the fault lies with you. I trembled with rage. I shouted, it's always like this, always me to blame. I'm not the only one at fault. Father stayed calm. She said she lost a child. She's weak. And you, her sister, stabbed straight into that wound. Isn't that the same as killing her again? I was stunned. I knew I was wrong, but I wouldn't admit it. I only screamed. She's weak to the core. If she never changes, her whole life will be nothing but tears. I won't let my children grow up like that. Father shook his head. You think you're saving, but really, you're destroying. Look closely. Your 4-year-old is already used to his mother shouting. What do you want him to remember of his childhood? Shouts, cries, or the sound of your sister groaning in the bathroom from panic? I collapsed into the chair. For the first time, I was speechless. The conversation ended with one sentence from my father that would echo in my head for days. You say you're strong, but the truly strong are not the ones who shout the loudest. The truly strong are the ones who make others feel safe. I said, nothing. I held my child, turned my face away, swallowed the tears. Inside, I wondered if I really am like my mother. Will I be able to stop before I lose everything? The house was silent, but this silence wasn't peace. It was heavy, compressed, like concrete poured on my chest. I heard the ticking clock, the wind slipping through the door crack, and in my heart, the echo of my father's words. The truly strong are the ones who make others feel safe. I sneered. Safe? Huh? Has anyone ever asked if I was safe? I was abandoned 8 months pregnant. I stayed awake countless nights. I raised 2 children alone. Who gave me safety? I looked around the room, toys scattered everywhere, the sofa where my sister once sat, silent, teary-eyed. I saw her shadow, still there. I heard again her whisper, "No wonder he left you." I clutched my head, screamed, "Shut up! Shut up!" The baby startled, cried. I panicked, hugged her, soothed her. In her clear eyes, I saw myself, bare, ugly, bitter. I whispered, "My love, your mother isn't a monster. She just doesn't know how to be gentle." The next day, I received one final message from her husband. "From now on, anything you want to say it to your father. With us, everything is finished." I threw the phone on the table. I shouted into the emptiness. "Fine, go. I'll never need you for the rest of my life." But when my voice echoed off the walls, it sounded hollow, like the cry of a failure trying to deceive herself. My 4-year-old ran out, eyes wide. "Mom, why are you crying?" I wiped my face, forced a smile. "I'm not crying. I'm just shouting." "Will Auntie come back?" he asked. I choked. "No, she's gone." I like Auntie. I like Uncle. I didn't answer. I turned away, biting my lip until it bled. My son loved her while she tore his mother apart. So who was right? Who was wrong? That night I stood before the mirror, my hair wild, eyes sunken. I stared straight into myself and asked, "Are you the villain? Are you your mother? Have you destroyed everything?" The reflection said nothing. In my head, two voices spoke. One from my sister, one from my father. "You're a terrible sister. You don't deserve me. You're repeating your mother." I slammed my hand on the sink. "No, I'm not her. I'm not a monster." But then a single tear slid down my cheek. "This time," I whispered, not screamed. Or maybe I really am the monster. I'm still writing these lines with the clock near 2 a.m. Both children are asleep. The house is quiet, terrifyingly so. I type, delete. Type, delete. As if each word is a scar cut into my skin. I think of her, the sister I once swore I would protect. I remember when we were kids. She fell off her bike, her knee bleeding. I carried her on my back, running home. She cried, clung to me. I was her shelter once. So when did I become the nightmare in her eyes? Maybe from the first time I yelled at her. Maybe from the day I forced her to be strong when all she needed was a hug. Maybe from the day I believed love meant pushing hard. I sighed. I wondered if tomorrow she knocked on my door again. Would I open my arms? I want to believe I would. But maybe I'd still be harsh, bitter, still push her away because that's the only way I know to survive. So am I the villain? Maybe. But I'm also the witness of my own life, a life wrecked by betrayal, by ruins, by endless nights rocking children with eyes wide open. If I'm wrong, my wrongness comes from distorted love, love laced with fear. I don't know how to love gently. I only know how to love by shouting, by pushing others to the edge, hoping they'll learn to fly. Maybe I've lost my sister forever. Maybe she'll tell the world I'm a monster, a cruel sister. Maybe she's right. But if one day she stands tall enough to say, "Sis, I'm okay now," then I, the villain, will cry. And that time I won't hide it. Until then, I'm still here. A mother, a sister, a woman. Not gentle, not kind, but alive and surviving. Canvas.